Well, hi there, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Richard Strell along with Bob Gibson, Dan DeForest, and, of course, Randy Rosenblum standing by. And this is the final SoCal Prep Report of the season, so we're going to be going an hour tonight. We have a jam-packed We have a jam-packed show tonight. I'm thinking ahead, right? We're going to be talking about phones later. Yes, we are. We're just talking about that. But anyways, a lot to get in tonight. Of course, there's a lot of playoff games going on, believe it or not, even though a lot of people have graduated already, but they're still playing. They got a fifth year of eligibility. We're going to talk about that too. But anyways, I'd like to welcome our cast and crew. Everybody, let's pop on and say hi to everybody so they can see who we're talking about. But
look at that group.
Fellas, I did not think we were going to be back on the air this season, man. I had lost all faith, but here we are, and we're able to get in basically, about maybe, I don't know, what did we do, Bob? We got a little bit of football in. We got just about everybody got something to do.
I think we got just about everything, didn't we?
Everybody got in, which I was very happy to see. But it's very fragmented. We all feel off, It's nothing's been like, we're talking about football in March, and it's just crazy. And
it was a crazy year.
And to go this far into now we're going to be in July real quick and just barely finishing up the high school sporting events. It's just nuts, guys. But we got through it. And Bob, I got to ask you, man, did you think we'd be here now?
No, I did not.
There you go. Not alone.
Cautiously hopeful that we would get to this point, but no, I didn't think we'd get any kind of what we ended up getting this kind of a season. I mean, things just went from 0 to 100. It felt like overnight in a way. I mean, I'd let everybody else chime in too, but we all of a sudden got to open up, and then boom, everything really opened up, and we got a whole lot of sports. So it ended up being a fun year. It really did.
And a lot of people don't know this about Dan DeForest, but if it wasn't for Dan DeForest, there would have been no basketball season this year. Dan, how did you get that? How did you make that happen? Who'd you threaten?
I pulled some strings. I got it all done for us. But, yeah, great basketball season. Really fun to watch, both the boys and the girls. And just glad they got to have just about a full season. And they're in playoffs, and it's really ramping up, and they're excited. So got some big games coming up this weekend, so it'll be great to watch.
Right on. And, of course, Randy, man, I know you're chomping at the bit. You've been calling basketball, all during basketball season, kind of a extended basketball season, but you're still out there calling games. So glad to have you back. We're gonna go to you with the LA City section stuff. Of course, big story. Ed Azam stepping down. I thought that was big news to me.
Yeah, he steps down with 932 career victories. That's the most in the history of the LA City section. He finishes with 15 city titles, one shy of Willie West's all-time record at Crenshaw of 16. He had an opportunity to get his 16th, but Birmingham found a way at Westchester to beat him 73-68. But Ed's a teacher. He had a magnificent career. He bills himself as a teacher more than a coach. 42 years of excellence, so many great players, so many great teams, and he was so well liked at the end of his career. And he went out like a very, very, very nice, personable guy. He was humbled at the end. He took the loss with grace against Birmingham, and he's just a fine gentleman, and he'll be long remembered. He'll be a legendary figure in the LA City section. No question about it.
Absolutely, nationwide, too.
It's a big void, Randy. It really does leave a big void. I mean, none of us can remember covering a basketball season, I don't think, without Ed Azam being involved in it somehow, one way or another. And I think in the back of people's minds, you worry, hey, is this Westchester program going to suffer from losing Ed Azam? But what do we know about who's going to step up and fill the void?
One of the assistant coaches will undoubtedly get the job, so they'll hire from within. Westchester will be Westchester. He's built the program. You go into the arena, you see all the championship banners. So the Comets will be back. They're going to have to replace a lot of fine players, but there is some talent on campus. They won't be as good this year, at least not on paper, unless they get some transfers for the new coach. But the program's built, and everybody knows about Westchester. And again, too, when you think about Ed Azam, you think about all the great confrontations with Fairfax, the greatest rivalry in high school basketball in Southern California for so many years, and the battles he had with Harvey Catani, and now Harvey's at Rolling Hills Prep. But they went mano a mano in the coaching box for so many years, and they both had some great victories against one another. But Ed Azam and Harvey Catani are kind of linked together with that Fairfax-Westchester rivalry.
Without a doubt.
Randy, don't they go back to high school? Didn't they go to high school, same high school together?
They went to, I believe, junior high school together, and they were
Okay.
friends. So they played together at one point in basketball. So they're close friends, and in a way, I guess it's interesting that Harvey stepped away and went to Rolling Hills Prep, so they didn't have to try to beat each other every year. But it was a respectful rivalry. The two guys were very close friends, and still
One
are.
of the biggest rivalries in high school sports and basketball, Westchester Fairfax. Every year, big game. And those guys back in the day, they compete with anybody. Didn't matter. They could compete with the Southern Section.
I mean,
schools.
Zam has 6 state championships. I believe Harvey won 2 at Fairfax. So between the two of them, they won 8 state titles. But Ed Zam won 6 state championships. That's the high rent district when you're winning 6 state titles. There's no question about it. And he was the best team. I think his last team that won it was 2010. They were the best team in the state, and they had some teams that were nationally ranked and highly nationally ranked.
You'd think he would have hung around to get 1,000, man.
Yeah. There's 2 guys ahead of him. Mike LeDuc of Damien is closing in on 1,000, just short of 1,000. LeDuc's done a great job with the Damien program. And, of course, Coach McKnight, Gary McKnight, is closing in on 1,200 and is 4th all-time in the history of high school basketball, number 1 all-time in the state of California at modern day. So, yeah, he's currently 3rd in the history of the state behind LeDuc, and he finishes behind McKnight as well.
Wow. Big news coming out of the city section, man. It's another era gone by. Randy, I was talking with the commissioner yesterday in his office, earlier this week, and we were talking about how a lot of the icons are gone, man. Marion Atsich passed, Jack Malstead passed this year, a lot of other guys stepping down. I can't remember the guy's name with Charter Oak. Bob, you helped me out with that one. Anyways,
Lou Farrar.
Yeah, Lou Farrar.
Lou Farrar passed away.
Don't even know I can forget Lou Farrar. He's been on our show back in the day with Prep Sports Night Live. He used to come in with his kids, and a lot of icons. These guys all have 300+ wins, and of course, Coach Zam approaching 1,000. So a lot of the old guard, man, is just going, and it's tough to see. It's tough to see, especially we've been there for a long time watching this.
I don't think we're going to see that again. I think once this current group that you and I and Bob and Dan has seen over the years, once the veteran coaches leave, I don't think you're going to see 20 and 30-year reigns anymore. I think you'll see more turnover. That's just how life is in the 21st century. We need to appreciate the Ed Zams of the world.
Absolutely. Guys that have those long coaching careers, they stay put at one place. And you did mention Harvey Catani, the Fairfax coach that's over at Rolling Hills Prep, man. What a job that guy's done. He's the master. This guy goes from a big LA City school, great program, and then he cashes it in to go to a startup, pretty much Rolling Hills Prep. They now have about 350 students in that school, and it's 6th grade through 12. So the basketball pickings is kind of slim, but yet they're ranked number 10 in the state of California. They give modern day fits every time they play. They don't kill them. They play a tight game, and you got to give Catani credit. But I don't want to take away from Ed Zam's moment. Finally retiring, just a great coach at Westchester, and man, I'd love to sit with that guy and start talking about all the players he's had, where everybody's gone, what were some of his favorite teams, and just talk about those days because. Those were some of the greatest basketball games with Fairfax and Westchester. And again, as you mentioned, 6 state titles. That's something to be proud of.
Yeah, what's interesting when you talk to Ed, he doesn't really think about the numbers. He wasn't devastated that he didn't get his 16th city title to tie Willie West. He's not really into the championship. Certainly he wants to win. He's into teaching. He's a guy that loved practice as much as the game. And he loved his man-for-man defense. So that's what will be remembered at Westchester about Ed Zam, how he was a teacher for so many years and loved his kids. Yeah, the championships came, but it was about teaching for Ed Zam.
All right.
So many great players. You mentioned the championship banners. How about all those retired numbers up on the wall as well? How many players did he put in the NBA, right? So many great players come through that Westchester Comet program.
It comes to mind immediately, but there's a laundry list of great players that came out of Westchester that went on to play, and the same for Fairfax as well. Harvey Catani had a number of guys move on and play in the NBA. One of them is Solomon Hill, who's currently in the NBA playoffs. So there's a lot of guys that came out of that great rivalry, and Ed Azam has about 10 or 15 kids that went on to the NBA.
All right, Randy, thanks for that. Let's move on now, guys. Basketball playoffs, since we're talking about basketball, and we just talked about the great Ed Azam moving on. Let's look at the girls' basketball playoffs.
We got Centennial, you know they're chomping at the bit, right? To lose at home on a last-second three-pointer to Mater Dei. You know they'd love nothing more now to turn the table, go down to Mater Dei, which they'll play now at the Murillo Center down there in Santa Ana on the Mater Dei campus. Centennial would like nothing more than to return the favor and win that regional championship on Mater Dei's home floor, like Mater Dei won the CIF title on their home floor. It has to be this way. These are the two best teams anywhere that you're going to find. I'm talking anywhere, right? Anywhere in the nation. These are probably two of the better teams you're going to see, and it had to come down to these last two for this final game. And what a way for both teams to go out. You know, and it would almost be prophetic, too. If Mater Dei got a CIF title, maybe Centennial gets a regional title, I think everybody would walk away smiling. But certainly Mater Dei is such a good team. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them double up on this. And
Bob, I got to tell you, man, you know how it is. It's hard to beat great teams twice in the same season, and especially in the same week. So here we go, man. What did Centennial learn? What did the Lady Centennial team learn against Mater Dei last time? We're going to find out, but I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to be highly motivated to come out and take care of business.
No doubt it'll come down to the last second as well. I mean, these two teams are so evenly matched, so much talent on the floor. Right, you'll get another last-second basket, I think, one way or the other, another classic matchup. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, let's continue to move on. Let's look at the girls' 1AA division. Linwood at Towanda. Of course, Linwood used to be it back in the 80s and 90s. Their boys and girls teams were monsters. You know, they were giving everybody at the upper levels fits. They're back in the picture in the championship game against Etiwanda. Etiwanda is one of the best basketball programs, boys and or girls, in the country, Bob.
And I think the only thing that stands out here is not the two names of the schools, it's the seeds. Look at the seeds these two schools came in at to come through here, right?
Yep.
You know, Mission Hills got taken out early by Linwood. You know, that took care of that. West was the number 2 seed. Etiwanda took care of that. So, right, we were used to seeing these school names here, just not the seeds they had to come through to get here. But nonetheless, man, the talent always wins out, right? And these schools always seem to have top talent.
All right, let's go to the 1A Academy where we see the talent is loaded. You got Rosary Academy. This is the Rosary Invitational, or, you know, it's getting that
really
way.
Has been.
And, of course, it's either going to be Long Beach Poly, Esperanza. They're in the middle of it right now. I'm sure we're going to get a score update right now from Larry's checking it out. But Long Beach Poly won the Southern Section, their 6th title.
Right.
The 123rd in the school's history. We'll see what happens. They should beat Esperanza and get in the final against Rosary. I cannot believe Rosary's the number 6 team, and they're going to face, more than likely, Poly. That's going to be a good one.
Hard to think Rosary's under the radar at any time, right? Coach Rich Yoon, he's always got.
It's final?
Long Beach Poly 80, Esperanza 52.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go. Long Beach Poly 80-52, Bob.
Rich Yoon does such a great job at Rosary. A couple of state titles in recent times for Rosary, but right back in it again this year. A program like that, right, you're going to say, oh, they're the number 6 seed. Who cares, right? The seeding is out the door, man, because a program like that knows how to win, knows how to beat top seeds. They know what it takes. So no surprise whatsoever Poly and Rosary get into this final.
All right, let's go down now and take a look at the 2AA. We're going to got Mater Dei Catholic, of course. That's not the Mater Dei here in Southern California, going against Alemany. Yeah, Mater Dei Catholic of San Diego.
We saw Alemany, and certainly Dan can speak to how good Alemany is too, taking out his Korean Lutheran team just a couple of weeks ago.
What do you think, Dan? Let's get Dan. Let's let Dan weigh in on this one, Dan. What do you got to say about this one?
I have to say, hey, they have a tough team. They play you up and down the court. They get up on your guards. They get up on your big man. They play physical.
They play college basketball.
Yeah, they steal the ball. They get layups. They have a good power game inside. I mean, they were really big inside in there. They could really shoot the ball. So it's going to be a tough game. That is a tough team. Offense.
They're physical, aren't they, Dan?
Oh,
Dan, they're physical.
Physical, strong.
Yes,
Even the guards are physical. They're banging you, coming up the court. They're trapping you. I mean, they really give you a bad time. So I don't see anybody beating them.
Dan was calling them like, the Pistons. What do they call them? The bad
Right, the
girls,
bad
boys.
girls.
You know.
Hey,
Listen,
they played
man.
a little bit that way. I'm telling you.
When
It
you get
got chippy. They were playing really rough.
Yeah, they did.
Listen, man, when you
refs were letting them play. It was crazy.
when you get to this point in time, the CIF championships, and you get into the regionals of the state, it's all physical, man. Unless
Yes,
your
sir.
team is run and gun, baby. But once you get to the hoop, they're going to knock you down. So it gets very physical at this point in time, and I don't blame them for playing a physical brand. If you have the size, do it. If you have the length, use it.
Yeah.
It's
No free
very,
shots,
very
no
common.
free shots, no open drives. It was just knocking them down and
Yeah.
and
No,
it
you were-
was
Nothing
wild.
wrong with
Earn your
that.
points.
Remember, Jordan rules, well, that's how they play. Anybody in the paint gets knocked down. They got plenty of girls on the bench that can replace and knock other people down.
Right.
But it's just a brand of basketball. There's nothing wrong with it. The defense always tightens up in the playoffs. And if you come out and you start off in the first half with heavy offensive power because they're not D'ing you up enough in the second half,
Right.
people start hitting the floor
Right.
because they start D'ing up. They start D'ing up. And
We've all seen it.
it's clean. It's fine. It's just a brand of basketball. I'm going to be interested to see how that game turns out because Almani's physical. And, that's what it takes in these finals, Bob, to get to the
sure.
next level. All right, let's continue on. Taking a look at the girls' 2A division. Westlake and El Camino going at it. Look at El Camino and El Camino Real, Bob, in the semifinals.
Right.
What's going on here?
That's a great matchup, right? That's a LA team and a San Diego team.
Yes, sirree.
They got in that matchup there.
Yes, sirree, Bob. All right,
that's
cruise
gonna
on.
be
Mary
good, too.
Star of the Sea here.
Mary Star.
This is the what do we call this? Is this the 3AA? Yes, it is. The 3AA
Rancho
championship
Bernardo on the
game.
other
Yeah,
side,
Rancho
yeah.
Bernardo, San Diego going on. Mary Star of the Sea, Bob.
A lot of San Diego teams get into these finals.
Well-
I tell you, that's rare. We don't see a lot of San Diego teams get to those regional finals. So I think that's good to see. That speaks well to the San Diego section.
I think the way they did it this year, Bob, because the state was not going to have a championship
Right.
game. NoCal would not participate. Central California's not participating. So basically, it's the Southern Regional, I believe. So I believe it's all the Southern section, the city section, San Diego section.
right.
They're all going at it.
That makes sense.
So, hey, you know what? If you're not going to participate, that's fine. It's your option. But life goes on, and the championship games go on. So it's basically SoCal versus San Diego counties here as we go through this. Southern City and San Diego sections here. All right, continuing on, going into the girls 4AA. South Pasadena. Here we are. Buchanan Del Norte. I got one ahead of myself. Again, Buchanan up in that's up north. That's up in that's up in Fresno, right? So
That's
we
a
got
wrestling school.
Yeah, it is a wrestling school, but they're playing basketball now.
And
And
that girls basketball team's going to play for their title.
yeah, and the girls are wrestling now too, and I'm sure Buchanan's got a great wrestling team up there with
Right.
the ladies, but they're playing Del Norte in that bracket. All right, let's continue on, and now we get to South Pasadena and Roosevelt. Bob, I mean, look at Roosevelt. They just took apart Eastlake in the semis. They took apart San Dimas in the quarters. I don't know, man. South Pasadena didn't struggle, but you look in their earlier game, they didn't blow anybody out either. Which is supposed to be an easier bracket, right?
It's funny in the top in the higher brackets, the Open, the D1. We talk about how many times schools have played each other, and we've seen these matchups over and over again. But in these lower brackets, you see a lot of like South Pasadena, Roosevelt. When is that matchup ever going to happen?
Never.
It probably never is.
No.
So you get a chance to see different areas, and I think that's one thing that's cool is you see kids from different areas get a chance to match up with each other, and I think you just don't know what to expect in some of these matchups. That makes it even more fun.
Yeah, and South Pasadena, they're a seed coming in. A seed. Not that it matters in these brackets right now.
Like we
Everybody's
said,
good.
Throw the seedings out there.
Everybody's good. Bakersfield Christian taking on the Academy of Our Lady of Peace. There you go, Bob.
Where's that school? See, there's another one. I
You've
don't
been
know where that
talking
school
about
is
Our
at.
Lady of Peace all season, Bob. Stop making a
Man,
joke.
all right.
This is going to
All
be a
right.
good game.
Randy might know.
It's going to be a
Randy
great
might know
game,
what
all
I'm
right?
saying.
Continue on. Let's move on to something else here.
Fallbrook. I know where Fallbrook's at.
Now, this is the girls' state 5AA. And yes, Fallbrook's in San Diego taking on Strathmore from San Diego. So here we go,
There
Bob.
you go.
I believe that's all San Diego final, right?
I think that is an all.
All right, if they're not, I was just guessing on that one. San Fernando taking on the Trinity Classical Academy, Bob. Another interesting name of a
about
school.
them before.
Don't know a lot about them, and neither do you. But it doesn't matter. Let's give them the respect they deserve. They are in the championship game, and I'm sure in the future we're going to know a lot more about these guys, especially if they beat San Fernando.
Hey, that's a 1-2 matchup right there. So that tells you right there. Those
Yep,
top
absolutely.
2 seeds got through.
All right, let's go to the Boys Open, and we get Randy Rosenblum in here now because Randy's seen a lot of these teams. He's been calling games, for another network all this time, and so he's going to be able to give us some information here. Torrey Pines, Etiwanda. Torrey Pines is the #1 school. They're better than Sierra Canyon. They're allegedly better than Corona Centennial, Mater Dei, everybody. You name any school, Torrey Pines is the bomb this year. They are 29-0. They tear apart everybody, but now they got Etiwanda. What do you think, Bob?
That's a whole different level right there.
That Torrey Pines team is very good. Not only have they been tearing people apart during the regular season, they have wins over Corona Centennial earlier in the campaign. They beat them by 4. I believe it was 66-62 very early in the season, and Corona Centennial went on to win the Southern section. They opted out of the regional. So that was a great win for Torrey Pines. And then in the semifinals, they just toyed with Damien and held Malik Thomas, the great SC future star of Damien, to just 10 points and routed him. So that was a statement right there that they were able to do that to Damien. Now Etiwanda comes a calling. They finally get by Sierra Canyon. They had lost 5 straight to the Trailblazers. So this is an Etiwanda team that's getting great young guard play from Jimmy Baker. Meshack inside is a force who's going to Tennessee. This will be another test for Torrey Pines. But again, Torrey Pines, being the #1 seed, gets to host the game. It's going to be difficult. Etiwanda is a great defensive team. It's going to be a heck of a battle, but you got to favor Torrey Pines playing at home.
Hey, Randy, am I nuts to think, though, that Etiwanda is peaking at the right time, right? That win over Sierra Canyon was huge. Are they peaking at a time where they to take this shot against Torrey Pines? This would be the time to take that shot, and you got every chance to think Etiwanda's got a chance to win this game.
I'll answer it. Bob, you're nuts. Go ahead, Randy, with the rest of it.
Well, the key here is that, Etiwanda, we knew their front line was going to be really good. They had veteran, talented players, but they had a couple of young guards, and it took them a while to get going. And again, I mentioned Jimmy Baker. This kid is a freshman, I believe, or maybe a sophomore, but he's sensational, and he's getting better and better and better for Dave Kleckner. And now when you get guard play like that to go with the inside play, yeah, they are peaking. And they also learned from the earlier loss the week before in the CIF Southern Section pool play when they lost 82-76 to Sierra Canyon. So they knew what to expect from Amari Bailey, who had another great game, the great star of the Trailblazers. But they went right back to the same arena, not only reversed the decision, it was the same score. This time, Etiwanda beat Sierra Canyon 82-76. So they learned from the last loss, and yes, Etiwanda's coming on. Torrey Pines has a great chance to win, but Etiwanda certainly has an opportunity to win here. And if you're Dave Kleckner, who's never been able to get over the hump in the regional, this is his chance to win a regional championship, but he has to go through an undefeated team on the road at Torrey Pines. Not an easy assignment.
And you're right, the way they destroyed Damien had a heck of a year. Damien was a great basketball team this year, and Torrey Pines, you're right, just destroyed them. So who knows?
Yeah, they took them apart.
Randy knows. He's seen them all.
Randy,
He's
true.
watching them all. Let's go to the 1AA. And there you go, ribbit. We got the Frog Academy against Bosco, and they are the frogs, by the way. They're not Cantarranas, the gang, the singing frogs, but it is the Rebbe Academy, and they're taking on Bosco. I was impressed with Rebbe Academy, Randy, when they had in the playoffs. They gave Sierra Canyon all they can handle for a half, and then Sierra Canyon just turned it on and tore them up. It was kind of disheartening to see Rebbe Academy play so well, but then just get tore up in the second half and lose by a ton. Bosco has improved all their sports, Bob. Football, basketball, wrestling, everything has improved at that school. This will be a good matchup. Bosco plays in the Trinity League. They're seasoned. I don't know where this one's going to go. I just don't. What do you think, Randy?
Well, it's a rematch from last week in pool play. And it happened to be an all-candor game that really didn't matter. Neither team was going to win the CIF Southern section at that point. They were out of pool play contention. I don't want to try to go over the dynamics of that. In that game, Rebay Academy lost to St. John Bosco by 10. Now they come back and they meet in the D1 final. They didn't get to the open division, only the top 8 teams, and so they go down to Division 1, and now you see the result. These two powerhouses who are very good open division regular season teams playing D1 in the regional, go all the way to the finals. I think it's a picket game. If Scotty Washington hits jump shots for St. John Bosco, they're very difficult to beat. On the other hand, there's some great talent at Rebay Academy. Trey White is terrific. Barrington Hargress, their point guard and underclassman, is phenomenal. Tyler Powell is another player who's going to play at Seton Hall. So there's talent at Rebay Academy, but again, they're playing on the road. And if Washington hits shots for the Braves of St. John Bosco, they got a great chance to win at home. But I think you're right. I think that one's going down to the wire.
That really was my favorite bracket of all of them, Brandy. I loved it because it was so wide open. You look at when that bracket started. I mean, Westchester was the top seed. They get a bye. They get wiped out there in that
Right.
second. That could have gone 12 different ways, that bracket. So we're not surprised to see that matchup, but we wouldn't have been surprised to see any of 3 or 4 other matchups in this final either.
Yeah, that's 2 years in a row, by the way. Westchester ended their season in state tournament play, losing to Rebay Academy, and neither one of the games were close. So I'm sure when Ed Azam goes back and starts thinking about his career, the fact that his last 2 seasons were ended by the Fighting Frogs of Rebay Academy.
Ribbit. That used to be the old Paternoster High School, wasn't it, Randy?
Yeah, that's who. You're right on.
They changed it, or somebody sold it, or something.
I love the Fighting Frogs. When I was working one of their games, I threw that nickname out there 25 times. Just love it.
The Fighting Frogs. All right, continue on. Next bracket, what's up here? We got the boys 1A. Capital Valley, unbelievable, getting in there against Santa Fe Christian. Man, Santa Fe Christian used to be it, and they're still up there, Bob.
Yep. No, they're
not playing.
Right. You don't see
Weren't the Mobley brothers there?
Well, it's funny. Other than the Trinity League teams in Orange County, you're not seeing a lot of Orange County basketball really make that jump now. Crean Lutheran here's Crean Lutheran's another Orange County now making the jump on the girls and boys side, right? Crean's going to play for a regional final here as well. But good to see a public school in Orange County make their way in, because you don't see that too often anymore.
Well, there you see Crean
And here it
Lutheran, the
is.
boys 2AA here.
Another great matchup. I love this one.
Man, they beat Los Altos without Jared.
Right?
Jared Lucas.
And
By the way, he killed it at Oregon State this year, didn't he?
How many people said, Lucas, he's not going to really. No, man, kid, we knew that kid was going to do some big things up there.
Yeah.
And these schools locally down here in SoCal missed out on a good talent.
Yeah, Jared
They
Lucas,
missed
man.
out, man. They
This
let
kid,
him get to Oregon. They shouldn't have done that.
This kid's phenomenal, and the thing about him is he has his head about himself.
Yeah, good kid.
Not wild. He's not big on social media. Look at me. I'm dancing around. No, the dude's all about basketball, and he's doing. Oregon State's getting their money's worth with that scholarship they gave him.
Look, Crean Lutheran in this matchup is so talented. Just to get back to the matchup really quick. So talented. Santa Margarita, though, of course, we always talk about these teams in the Trinity League. Battle tested in the Trinity, right? That counts for a lot. So a much better matchup than you might think with Santa Margarita being a lower seed down there. Throw that up, as we said, that's gone, right? But I think Crean wins this game because, man, that Crean team, you've seen them, Dan. You've seen the boys this year.
It's going to be rocking. They have a lot of height inside. They got a 6'11" center and another 6'9" forward who can shoot outside, inside. They're gonna really play hard, and I think the stadium's gonna be rocking tomorrow night.
Coac Keat,
and it's gonna be. I think they're gonna take them.
Yeah, Coac. Yeah, I may be pronouncing that. I may be butchering.
Yeah,
his name. I apologize
yours
for
looks
that.
like KK, but
the kid from Renaissance Academy. He was at Renaissance Academy a year ago. Now at Crean and just blowing up there as a
he is so
as
good.
a big time guy.
Those guys are so
Really good
good
player. Excellent player.
All right, you guys
All right.
beat this. You guys beat this to death already.
I think we hit that from every angle.
All right,
there.
just
I think
making
we're
sure
good.
now. I don't want to leave anybody here going, "Hey, Rich, I had something to say," and you cut me off right away.
Right, you didn't let me get
I
in.
know Randy's chomping at the bit in there. Okay, we got Central against Mater Dei Catholic. What's the common denominator here again? Mater Dei Catholic. The girls team is in the finals, right? So we got the boys team in the finals.
Anything called Mater Dei at this
Central.
point, man.
Yeah,
it's
there's
good
about
to go,
there's
right?
about 6 of them across the nation.
That's true. There are.
So, but I think the one here in Santa Ana is pretty good.
Yeah, they do okay.
But anyways, Yeah. Okay, we move on to
Aquinas
and La Costa Canyon. Larry, what are you doing? Why are you rushing this, man? You can cut back and forth every now and then.
Again,
Get
another
these graphics
San
off
Diego
that screen.
team in here, La Costa Canyon.
I'm looking at Valley Christian, man. You know, that's a very tiny little school in
Yeah.
Cerritos. I mean, literally, I think the junior high school I went to was larger than that school, but look at him, man. All right, good to see him in the semifinals. La Costa Canyon and Aquinas is going to be a good game, man.
What division
Those
is
guys
this?
score a lot of points, both of them, but they allow the same amount too. Look at the semifinal scores. Man, it's going to be a good one. All right, continue on. Let's move on. What are we up to now there, Larry?
Okay, this is
boys,
the one that here's the matchup. We
3A.
got Chalavet and Bonita Vista. This had a little bit of controversy surrounding it because this game almost didn't get played. And if you're following on Twitter at all today, there was a lot of drama going on. Fortunately, they're going to get the game in Monday, but because of religious considerations, Chalavet, a Jewish school, was, of course, not going to play on Saturday. Well, the original schedule said, hey, this game is going to be played on a Saturday. Well, religious considerations, they're not going to play on that game. But Bonita Vista said, hey, we got coaches and players who have vacation plans. We're getting out of town, and everybody said there were some feelings hurt earlier on today, but I'm glad the cooler heads prevailed. We are going to get a basketball game apparently on Monday between
Bob,
these two teams.
I heard they were talking about moving this game up to September, man, because everybody had stuff going on.
They might have. There was an RV trip planned.
You got 30 players, coaches, fans, and parents and all that. So you gotta get everybody accommodated.
Look, I can
Bob,
see.
we're in 2021 now.
Right? Well, I can see it because in a way you say, look, the schedule's been out for a long time. We know this championship game is going to be on a Saturday. So did Chalavet have a chance to bring that up to the Southern Section and say, hey, look, if we were to the state committee and say, look, if we get to this point, this isn't going to work for us, right? And everybody's got to know, hey, we've got a team here that needs that kind of a consideration. And I don't know who was let in on that and who made those decisions or whatever. The school probably maybe should have been a little more on top of that, but regardless, that's gone now. I think everybody's going to get their vacation, hopefully, and everybody's going to get a chance to play, and nobody has to compromise their beliefs in order to do it here.
I don't know,
So
Randy.
that's
Did you
good
hear
news.
about that back there up in the west side about this
Yeah,
game?
we heard about it. I think the school wanted to play on a Sunday. That was going to be the compromise position, but I'm glad they finally agreed on Monday. We didn't want to forfeit in the game. That would have been
No.
ridiculous. So I think it's something that the Southern Section is going to have to take a look at in years to come. You want to solve that problem before
Yes.
you have the problem. So if you know there's any religious school that's in the bracket that has any opportunity to get to a final, you need to know what's going to happen ahead of time rather than do it on the fly. And I think that's what happened. The school makes it to the finals. They have religious consideration, and nobody thought about it ahead of time. And I think this should have been handled earlier.
Well, Randy, this isn't your typical season, so you can't really
Right.
blame anybody, Southern Section of the state, because this isn't normal. We shouldn't even be doing basketball right now. You know that.
But it is a good lesson for a religious school to get that ironed out before they go into the tournament with the section that they happen to be in. So in case they get to a situation where there's a design day that they can't play on, that there's a remedy going in.
Well, I think that in normal times you wouldn't have this issue. I mean, you just wouldn't, because we'd be playing this, March, and then there's plenty of Saturdays and Fridays available. But it is what it is, and at least they accommodated, so everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's funny. One school it's about religion, the other school it's about vacation. So I mean, I don't know where you draw the line on that. I mean,
Hey, everybody's
Take a
got
religious vacation.
right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people are taking off to the homeland for a little bit for vacation. I don't blame anybody, man. It's been a long year. We're all tired. We want to start over in September.
The chance
man.
anyone gets to get a vacation
August.
to go somewhere to mean something.
August.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Larry wants us to move on,
All
so
right.
let's move.
Let's go. Here we go.
Is that Jim that wants us to move on over here now? Larry, you're going to get a new name.
Oh no! Don't do that to him.
I'm kidding with him. He knows it. Get out of here. Linfield Christian, San Isidro, of course, from San Diego.
Deep down in San Diego.
And that's going to be at
yeah,
Murrieta
right?
Mesa High School. So, that'd be a good matchup. 4 versus 6 there. Again, I really don't think 1 versus 8, there's much of a gap. So we'll see what happens. Both had a good semifinal matchup.
I love when you get a 4 and a 6 matchup, right? That makes it even more fun, I think, because the top seeds Maybe they had the little hangover from their championship games, whatever. A couple schools maybe sneak in there, and then you
Bob,
get
look
them
at
in the match.
yeah, but look at the semifinal matchup. A 4-8, it's a 4-point win, 61-57, and then on the 2 and 6, it's 60-55.
Right.
I mean, they scored the same identical amount of points, to win in the semis. They allowed this pretty much the same amount of points within 2 on each side.
Where was
1
that?
and 2.
San Ysidro Chatsworth. Somebody traveled about 7.5 hours to get to that game, right? I mean, think about how far apart those two schools are. Somebody had an all-day travel on a bus.
Bob, I've seen like Yucaipa go all the way out to Tehachapi,
We've
man.
seen a bunch of these type of matchups, but I always laugh when you see those because, right, somebody spent a lot of time on a bus going
Bob,
somewhere.
We talked with Robbie about all this stuff going, with Commissioner Wigod.
Wigod,
Yeah, and it's still great because the games are better. Yeah. We're seeing stuff we wouldn't normally see, but sometimes in the first round you do have to hop a plane to play, in the playoffs. So, it's just normalcy now.
Such a huge
Kids are getting prepped for the big time. All right, let's continue on to finish these brackets. We got to get to the interview with Commissioner Wigod and wrap things up. Coronado versus Orange Glen, Bob, 1 versus 2. Nothing fishy there. Ought to be a good final.
We see Orange Glen all over the place now, man. That's a school to keep an eye on for sure because every time we talk about playoff brackets, I don't care what sport we're talking about, I see Orange Glen in there all the time. So this is a school that's really put themselves squarely on the map.
5AA, Roosevelt against Sage Creek, Bob. Another 1-2.
1-2, you got to like that. Costa Mesa, one of the old schools I covered back in the day. They tried to sneak in there to a regional final. It's been 100 years since the 93 girls for Costa Mesa that got
They got whipped, Bob.
Little personal deal there for me. So.
I know.
Good to see a Costa Mesa.
I don't blame you for sticking up for the homeland there, Bob. Your alma mater.
For years.
Kingsburg against Washington Union. This is the 5A division final. And again, this is a 1-7. Not quite the 1-2, but again, like we said, and we'll say it again, there's not much difference between 1 versus 7 or 8.
Hey, 7 knocks out a 3 by 2 points, right? Next thing you know, you get a great matchup in the championship.
There's so many games, and we can't see them on TV. We can't get to all of them, so forgive us if we don't have a lot of details on these ball games. Of course, and the last one, the boys 6AA, Fowler taking on Maranatha Christian, Bob.
Fowler. You got me on that one. Maranatha I'm more familiar with. Fowler, I got no clue. Nothing to tell you. Bell was in there.
Yeah, Bell was in there. Let's go to Randy with that.
Bell had their shot here, right, Randy?
Well, yeah, they did after winning the city championship and limiting Monroe to 24 points in the city title game.
Did you get that score right? Remember, you told Coach last week what that score was going to be.
He said they were going to win, though. Bell would win it, right?
Yeah, I said Bell would win. I said they'd score 62, and they did, but I thought the other squad, Monroe, would score 41. He scored only 24.
Right. So
he did a tremendous defensive
Coach
job.
really did a number there, right?
Hey, what happened to my sheet here? I must have a mistake here.
No, we're talking about the CIF.
Oh, the CIF. Okay, I take it back.
Not the game they
right,
lost. Sorry,
all right.
Randy and I are skipping around here.
All right.
So we're talking about the CIF championship win.
You guys are going off the script like we even had one, but all right.
Right. But Bell got knocked out pretty big here in this regional.
All right. Enough of this nonsense. We just updated everybody on the basketball right now as best we can. I know there's was one game tonight, and of course Long Beach Poly won, so they're going into the finals. Anyways, we talked. Commissioner Robbie Wigod, you going to set that up now, Larry? Can we?
Ready.
All right, so we got down to the CIF Southern Section office and talked with Commissioner Wigod, and I'll tell you guys, man, I do not envy the commissioner having to go through this COVID business, We sat there, we're talking off the cuff and talking about how, they were getting directives from the state of California Health Department, not the normal channels. They would plan for, say, okay, we can't open in September, maybe by October, then it moved to November, Thanksgiving, then it was December, and then it moved to January, and then finally in March, but each step of the way, these guys are making all these plans and trying to get, things going, and then they keep getting snuffed out. So we went down, talked to Commissioner Wigod about how things went this year and what we're looking forward to in the future come September. All right, we're in the Commissioner's office with the Commissioner, Robbie Wigod. And Commissioner Wigod, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. This is crazy times for you, man. You had, 30 championships in one semester? That doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. And thanks for having me, Rich. Always good to be with you. And, you know, it was just an unprecedented time for a long time. And so when we finally got the opportunity to do what we love to do, and of course what we will love our student athletes to do, then it was full speed ahead. And I think we have over 100 divisional championships awarded between May 21st and this coming weekend.
Wow, that's
I think
crazy.
across 19 sports for boys and girls. But everywhere I'm going and everything that we're doing has been greeted with thanks and appreciation that we're actually able to do it.
So let's talk about this unprecedented time. I've been through about 4 commissioners now. Nothing like this has ever come. Nothing like this has ever come during Thomas's, Bledco's administration, Crowley, all the guys. So you were really you were really tested as a leader and everything else. What was the lowest moment for you? Let's get down to that.
Well, it was tough to be the commissioner when this happened because, again, there's a 108-year tradition in this organization, and you don't want to be the one that, you know, it all fell down. But I think for me, the darkest days were December, maybe middle to late December. Things just were going so poorly. The numbers of cases and deaths and hospitalizations were just, you know, skyrocketing at that time, and it was really difficult to see that we would ever get an opportunity to have sports come back. But I even felt at that time we could still hold on to some hope, and we were looking for some improvement. And then, of course, I think the biggest thing we all have to agree is the vaccines became the game changer, and when that started to get involved, and we started to see that there may be a chance. But I would be honest in saying mid to late December, early January were definitely those days where we just, can this ever happen? And another season or a whole school year would actually be lost for the student athletes.
Yeah, for me, I think it was pretty telling when, you know, football, and let's face it, football in America is pretty much king still. I mean, there's big attendance, big team sport. You have a lot of participants. And when that doesn't go on, you know something seriously is going on, because nothing usually gets in the way of football. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and it was frustrating because it was being played other places.
Yeah.
You know, other states were doing it, and there was even club football that had kind of, you know, risen up in this place of high school. So that, I think, was really frustrating for our student athletes and our coaches and our communities, just to see that other states were playing, having even state championships, doing a lot of things that weren't happening here in California. And so that was hard, and again, kind of contributing to that time frame we're talking about.
And let's be clear, many people have said, well, what's the commissioner doing? The commissioner doesn't make the rules. He has to follow the directives of the high schools, the principals, the group. And in this case, it was even beyond that.
It was the California Department of Public Health. And I don't know how many people really understood that. The CIF and all of us wanted to play. We wanted to have.
Were holding it back.
Well, we had plans and other plans and always just waiting for the opportunity.
Right.
And what we did was we kept advocating with them and meeting with them, doing all we could to let them know, give us the opportunity. We'll do it right.
Got to be
We'll do it
frustrating
right.
though, because you're planning for the fall, and they say, okay, we got to extend it. Maybe we'll get out this time, and then we got to move the line again, and it's got to be disheartening.
Exactly, and that's what it was. And so it was hard we're used to being in control of what we do,
Right.
and then to have another entity really be responsible for that. But again, we just tried to keep in front of them, try to keep telling them how important it was to get student athletes back in a healthy, safe way. We believed educators and professional educators would do it right, and just give us the chance. And that's all we wanted, give us the chance. And then when they finally did, you know, I think it shows what could be done and has been getting done.
Well, I got to hand it to you guys, and you got to hand it to all the coaches and even the athletes who somehow were able to stay in the game regardless of whether they were going to school, had to stay home, had to work it on their own, maybe work out with some friends. I mean, it's just tough to figure it out. It's just, there's no, uniformity. There's no conformity at all.
Well, I'm really proud of our student athletes and our coaches and our schools, because they were staying engaged, staying connected, continuing to work for something they didn't even know would be there at the end. And that's a lot to ask. And so as I've been around, again, at these championships and seeing them, I've been very clear to thank those student athletes first, because they had the hardest job in a way of staying motivated and staying engaged. But our coaches and our athletic directors and our principals really try to keep everything connected, keep the students active, keep them involved, so that hopefully they'd get the opportunity. And so again, I'm really proud of our schools. I think our schools have done a fabulous job of shepherding this incredible time that we've been through to get to the end where we are, which has really been a celebration over the last few weeks, months.
Yeah,
there's been a great celebration and an appreciation for high school sports.
So we're moving forward now. Things are getting lifted. Masks are no longer being required everywhere, and so forth and so on. Like you said, obviously the vaccinations may be, heading this off and everything else. What about the fall? What are the plans for the fall? Are we going full steam ahead like usual?
We are, and we expect to go forward with 3 seasons of sport again: fall, winter, spring. We expect to have everything start on time and be able to go ahead and let the student athletes get back to what they're normally used to doing. I think we've learned a lot. It's been great in terms of what we have learned on how to manage things. I mean, if for some reason we end up going back in the other direction a little bit, we still understand testing, we understand mask wearing, we understand protocols, we understand a lot of things that, again, we can still manage. But certainly, I'd like to believe we're through the worst times, and as we go forward, we're really looking to be back to what we all expect, and that's my expectation going forward.
Everybody's hoping for that. Everybody just can't wait to get back to some semblance of normalcy. And now we've seen the Dodgers the last 2 nights of capacity crowds, and everybody seems to be okay. And we'll find out. I mean, it's open air, right? Everybody's outside, so it's pretty cool. During the COVID thing, we've been able to televise a game or two for women's basketball and stuff like that, and it looks like everybody was paying attention, doing the distancing. So maybe all this paid off now, and now it's proven now that we can actually get into arenas, high school gyms, and watch games. At the end, it is a class. It is important in the community. It teaches a lot of things. Leaders coming out of that. Teamwork is the most important thing. Because if you look at athletics, it's almost like a job. You got a group of people, you're all working for a common goal, and you just do your job.
We've always believed that. It's really the platform for life lessons.
Absolutely.
And the classroom outside the building. So we know how important it is, we know how valuable it is. And I think with it being gone, again, my real hope and expectation going forward is an enhanced appreciation for what coaches do, what student athletes do, what CIF people do, that we all keep kids first and wanting to do what we can to deliver for kids. And I think that's what we always have done, and we were prevented from doing it, and we've been able to get back to it. And I just really look forward to a brighter day ahead, and something that will continue to go on beyond the 108 years and see where we go. But it's really, it's an incredible feeling to think of where we started the year and then where we're going to end. And I think we're all pretty excited about where we're going to end.
And you can put your phone on the hook now, right? Yeah. People aren't calling like, hey, what's this going to be? This? Come on now.
Yeah, it's really been nice, as I said, and I've been really grateful going around. I've been at lacrosse, tennis, basketball, soccer, wrestling, volleyball. I'm going to baseball and softball this weekend. I mean, I've been at so many of our championship events, and the uniform theme at these events has been, thank you. We're glad we could do this. We appreciate your work. And certainly I return that back to all the schools and all of our educators that they've made this happen. We've done it together. It's what we do. We work together with them. And as I mentioned, it's just a great feeling to think of where we were in those darkest days to where we are today.
And the thing is, I hope you guys can pick up where you left off, because your administration that I've seen so far, and I've been through 4 of them now, is you guys have been the most innovative, the most forward thinking. You changed the playoffs. Nobody would touch those playoffs. You guys did it. Made the football playoffs better and other playoffs better. You got matchups that we haven't seen before that are great. Yeah. The games are better. They're more competitive. It's no longer geographically done. I mean, you guys had a lot of head of steam going and then stop the brakes. So I hope you guys can pick that back up, man, and keep this rolling, because it was a pretty good gig. It's been a pretty good gig.
Well, and we will, and it's come back that way. We have a lot of new teams that won championships this recent time frame, and teams never having that opportunity before getting it, and the games are closer and they're more exciting. I think every one of our boys basketball championship games was decided by 10 points or less. Yeah. There was one game that was decided by 11, and every other one was less than 10. Yeah. And I think when you see that, you realize you're matching up the right people. No. And that's just one example. Yeah, it's one example. Our girls basketball open division final is maybe the best girls basketball game anyone's ever seen. They've been saying, down to overtime and a 3-pointer at the buzzer to settle the open division on the girls' side. So, as I said, there's just more and more examples of competitive playoffs showing how much fun it is when it is that competitive, and you're matching the right schools, and we're really excited about where it's been in the 4 or 5 years now that we've done it. and that will just continue.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, Coach. Well, you were a coach, Robbie. You coached for a long time, man.
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I do.
But anyways, Commissioner, but that's who you are now. Got to give you the proper respect. But Commissioner, thank you for your time, man. We really appreciate it. We try to come in once a year. COVID kind of kept us out last year, but we're really glad that you guys are coming back. And thanks for sticking in there for everybody, man.
Well, thank you, Rich. I always enjoy being with you, and thanks for all the good work you do. It's great stuff. There's great stories out there, and I know you tell them, and we appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. It's Commissioner Robbie Wigod, CIF Southern Section. We're back, baby. We're back. Back to you, Rich, in studio. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. Oh, man, that was loud. But anyways, yeah, I threw it back to us.
Threw it back to yourself.
Anyways, yeah, hey, listen, man. The Commissioner did a great job this year. Southern Section did a great job this year. City Section, they had to work hard too. They kept it together. They did a fantastic job as well. And they have less resources than the Southern Section, as you know. But I got to commend the leadership of both the Southern and the City Section, the commissioners, the people that work in the office, that stuck in there, hung in there, did all the planning and all the other good stuff. For those guys not giving up, man, because it might have been easy to cut and run, Bob. I know you would have.
Yeah,
Conti would have for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Unprecedented times, man. There was no handbook for anybody to get through this time, but everybody made it through, right? Everybody kept their heads, as you mentioned. And so the point is, a lot of smart people at these organizations, Southern Section, City Section, at the state level. We got a lot of very intelligent people. They kept their heads about them, and they got us through this. And here we are. We're on the other side of it. Let's hope, and we can get to, as Commissioner Wigod said, full steam ahead, everything back to normal come end of August here when we start up a new school year and a new athletic season. So congratulations to everybody there who helped get that done. And I see optimism, right? They need to Commissioner Wigod, and I made that mistake too once upon a time interviewing him. I called him Coach too, and he took it as a compliment at that point too. But talking about December and how everybody was kind of down about where we were, and then we got to that point where we could come back. So that's fun. And
that's the reason. Good. That's the reason I think Commissioner Wigod makes a good commissioner, simply because he came from, not only from the neighborhood around here, but he coached. He started, as an assistant JV baseball coach and worked his way up to the ranks. Had some success and ended up commissioner. And obviously that's what you need. You need somebody who knows the neighborhood, knows the area, has been watching things, and has ideas. And that's what it takes to succeed and change with the times. And apparently they did it in a big way, because we have seen more competitive games. We will see more competitive games. And he's right about basketball. There's always blowouts, but there wasn't any this time around once we got up to the championship rounds. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, I know, Randy, you're so close with everybody over there at the LA City section. There's a good relationship between the Southern and the City section, the people in charge between the two sections.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. And they've gotten closer through the pandemic because everybody had to work together as one. You have to communicate, even though they weren't playing each other, because you were trying to stay within your own league for the most part in the different sections. I will say this, I can't imagine how many times in the LA City section they tore up schedules. They had a Schedule A, if we start on this date. It's a Schedule B if we're on this date. But over and over, they had to work tirelessly to try to put schedules together for all the different sports, for girls and boys, only to be denied, and then try it again. So the persistence of the section, the City section, Vicki Lagos, the commissioner, she was very, very low-keyed through this. I thought she handled it brilliantly. She took it day by day, didn't jump to conclusions. Great assistance from Sports Information Director Dick Dornan as well. And the City section, like their counterparts in the Southern section, their friends, their brethren, did a terrific job. And here we are. And I like the word that Commissioner Wigod used, celebration. We should celebrate the fact that our kids, our student athletes, are going to get through a rigorous, difficult time and come through it in a great way. Absolutely.
Now, looking ahead to this fall here at LA 36, and we're teaming up with Prep Sports Media, and we're going to be bringing back Prep Sports Night Live, guys. For those of you that have been around back with Sportsnet, Time Warner, man, we had a ball working there. Doing a live prep sports show on Fridays. We're bringing it back here Friday nights. 10 to midnight. So after the game's on Friday, all you got to do is tune into 36. We'll put out some apps there where you can get it live on your phone by just making one click. Boom, we're on. You can watch the games. You can watch them anywhere. There's going to be so many platforms. And so we're going to be doing the show Friday. We'll have plenty of stuff going on. We're going to be taking phone calls. We'll have interviews. The night belongs to you guys out there. Anybody who wants to call in, anybody who wants to have a little bit of pub, maybe you got some highlights you want to send us, within reason now, there are rules. We'll be happy. We'll be happy to do it. We had such a blast. Randy, you remember doing that show? We had football game before on a Friday night, and after we got done doing the live game, we came back to the show, and it was just a fun time, and everybody really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and what I like about it is the fans become the star of the show. Rich, you do a great job with it. Bob, you'll have fun. I might get involved. Dan might get involved. But it's the fans from the different venues, from the different schools that want to brag about their school or vent when their team loses. That's what makes the show so great. And the fact that it's a 10 to midnight slot makes it work. All the schools in Southern California are going to want to get involved, and we are going to bring up new stars from different venues, different fans from around the area. It'll be fun.
And it's live. It's in the name, Prep Sports Night Live. It's live. So we'll be there waiting on you. It's just going to be a blast. We're going to schedule a ton of stuff. And there's more. Should we say, no, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
There's more, but that'll be up and coming. We have more announcements coming up because we have a lot of things planned, man. We're gonna tear it up. I know, Dan, you've been working hard. We have all been working hard, getting ready. What do we got? 65 days
Something
or 70
like that,
before kickoff, man?
It's quick. It's
We're
coming.
Gotta work, baby.
It's coming.
Yeah, we've been hustling, trying to get everything ready, get the website ready, get make this interactive,
Everything.
make it a good program for you. You guys are going to really do a great job. I'm really excited to be part of it.
Yeah, we're going to tear it up, man. We're going to have everybody and anybody can be involved. Doesn't matter where you go to school, man. We know the upper echelon schools get all the pub. Every year you're talking about 6 schools or 7 schools because they go deep into the playoffs and then there's state playoffs. But no, this is for everybody, man. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
That's the great part, right? Everybody talks about Mater Dei and Bosco and those schools, and we'll talk about them too. But man, we want to focus on every school, right? All the neighborhood schools. We want every school. We want every fan to get on the phone and talk about their Division 6 school or Division 8, whatever. It doesn't matter. Get in, talk about your school, man. You got the chance to brag and you talk about your highlights and your star players. That's what's fun about it.
It's just going to be nuts. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be the place to be, and believe me, we'll be expanding, and it's going to get better and better. So don't forget, we're coming up in the fall. Larry, what's the first show, by the way? When are you planning the first one? I already forgot that. I know it's coming up, though. It will be August 20th? August 20th will be the first live show. You got to tune in here.
Put it
10
in your
o'clock.
calendar.
You can give it 9:55 if you want, but 10
phone,
o'clock
put
we
it
come
in
on
your
live.
calendar right there.
Tell them, Bob.
Put it in your
tell 'em.
calendar. Everybody's got a calendar in their phone. Put it in August 20th.
Yep.
Put it in there.
All right, fellas. We got 2.5 minutes left. Everybody gets a shot. Here, now they're glamming onto the high schools. It's amazing, isn't it, Bob? It's crazy. Why are they doing this?
Who would have thought we'd get to this point? But you know what? LeBron James' kid is on the team, so you know what? That's going to bring with it a certain level of hype and a certain level of circus atmosphere, for lack of a better term.
Spike Lee, Jack Nicholson. I mean, these are real people that enjoy the game, but you got a guy like Drake and Kevin Hart. They're just there to be seen and be identified with the team. And you can't have that. You're just a fan. I liked it when Kevin Hart got kicked off that. He was trying to get on the dais after the Super Bowl.
Right.
They threw him out.
Here.
Get out of here. Who the think you are? And then Drake trying to get in a locker room one time. Didn't they throw him out of a locker room?
Yeah, I think
trying to
you
get
might
in a
be
Clippers
right.
locker room or something.
I think you might be right.
They threw him out. So
Get out of here.
now they're kicking him out of Sierra Canyon now. I don't know what else to say, man, but that's what they get. All right, well, so much for that minute for everybody.
There we go. It's about 10 seconds for everybody.
Thank you,
now,
Larry. Just thank you for that, man. You're crazy. Listen, I want to thank Bob. I want to thank you, of course, for making another successful season this season,
Absolutely.
despite the COVID situation.
Right. I'm glad we got to do
Randy,
it.
your work is stellar as always. Really appreciate what you do, and looking forward to having you on our team come, in the fall. I know you're going to kill it, so I don't even have to say anything else, Randy. Great job as always. And Dan, just keep smiling, my brother. No, Dan, thanks for helping us out this year.
Dan's ready to go.
Looking forward to the fall when you will be busy doing so many interviews, man.
We're looking forward
your head's
to
going to
it.
explode.
We're excited.
Yeah.
It's
Now
gonna
the
be
real
good.
work's going to start. Let's see if you're going to be smiling then.
It's going to be
Let's
good.
do it.
Listen,
ready to go.
on behalf of Dan, Randy, Bob, myself, thanks for joining us all season. We're coming back at August 20th. August 20th.
August 20th.
All right. Maybe even August 19th, Bob. We don't know
never
yet.
know.
We're working on the
You
19th
never
too.
know.
So, all right. On behalf of everybody here, Larry Zavala, our producer, I'm Richard Stray saying so long from your friends here from the SoCal Prep Report. We survived, everybody.
We did it.
We survived.